So Yu-Gi-Oh and Konami is known to cater only to the player base usually, and they have a love-hate relationship with collectors. However, in 2024, I definitely felt like Konami took a lot of the right steps to try and bring collectability back into the hobby by releasing a lot of limited edition products as well as some limited edition cards. So in this video, I rounded up all the Konami releases for 2024 and I filtered through them to pick out the collectible stuff only. I tried to grab something for every budget, but my goal was to really hit everything possible that could be seemingly collectible. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so before we start this video off, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, yours truly. I really can't bring you guys these videos without your support on Patreon as well as my Strictly Sealed product. If you guys are interested in supporting the channel, you guys can always like the video and subscribe to show your support, but if you want to go a little bit further, you can shop at strictlysealedinc.com or subscribe on Patreon and get a ton of perks through our Discord. The Discord is free, but there are some exclusive channels that can only be accessed through Patreon, so you guys can check it out in the links below. I truly appreciate you guys, and every cent that you guys put towards the channel goes back to paying the editors as well as bringing you guys more content. Anyway, plug aside, let's get into the video. Alright, so the first product that in my opinion is pretty collectible is the most basic OTS packs. OTS pack 24 and 25 debuted this year, and they contain some really nice hit cards like Exodia and Ultimate Rare. There's a lot of backlash towards that card, and I get it, but they did give us an Ultimate Rare Exodia head, so it is what it is. But they didn't only stop there, they expanded to new regions in 2024, and they brought us the 2024 tournament pack for Asia, and there was 4 different packs of those. In those packs, you're able to get a secret rare version of some iconic monsters where the foiling is prismatic and then the text is in blue. I thought that was a really cool Easter egg, and I really appreciate Konami for going out of their way to bring us back some collectible cards. They also did something similar in China with something called the entry pack. Again, it's the same thing as the OTS pack, but unlike OTS where there was 2 releases, entry pack and tournament pack had 4 for every season. The next thing that I want to talk about is probably the best performing product out of anything Konami released in the TCG over the past few years, and that is the TCG Kaiba case. So this set was poorly received because it was pretty much almost double the price of the OCG, even though there was nothing different inside. And because of this, not a lot of people pre-ordered, so it ended up going under the radar and the supply was extremely limited. This thing shot up to $1,500 now, and I can definitely see it hitting the $2,000, $2,500 mark in the next 5 years because it's just so stacked. Not only do you get an extremely badass Kaiba case, but you also get 3 DDS like blue eyes, you get a QCR blue eyes that's exclusive to the case, and then you get a complete set of ultra rares of every card that Kaiba used. But not only that, you also get all of that in OCG cardstock, so the card quality is incredibly nice, the foil pops like crazy, and anybody who's held both QCRs from the Japanese side as well as the TCG side can attest to what I'm saying. Overall, it was a home run product, and the aftermarket price shows. I highly recommend you pick up the product if it's within your budget, because it's definitely a home run. But that home run aside, let's go to some duds that Konami released, and that is the Metal Egyptian God card set. So this set retailed for $300 and you were getting way less than what you were getting with the Kaiba case. But not only that, they printed the hell out of this thing, man. Like there's almost 60,000 of these in circulation. Like that is unacceptable, man. Like there is zero collectability for it, and it shows because the aftermarket completely tanked. You can pick this up for I think 2/3 of the retail price, maybe even 1/2 of the retail price with shipping and taxes and all of that. And I don't ever see it going up in value at all because there's just so many of them. I think for the MSRP of $300, it was terrible value, but at the aftermarket price that you can get it at now, I definitely think it's worth it. And with that Egyptian God card set is the next collectible item, and that is the TCG BLS. This card did not come out as nice as I would like, so what they did was they re-released the Get Can campaign Black Luster Soldier on the Japanese side, which was a 2023 promo card. That one was limited to 3,000 pieces. Now the TCG release is also limited to 3,000, and the way they differentiated the two is they gave you a limited edition tramp stamp on the front of it, which makes no sense because the rest of the card is Japanese, but they also gave you TCG back, which also doesn't make sense because the card is Japanese. But to top it all off, they printed it in Europe, so the card quality is abysmal, okay? Compared to the Japanese one, like there is no comparison, and I think because of this, it will always trail behind the OCG version. If I was to recommend the Black Luster Soldier, I would definitely say go ahead and grab the Japanese one, skip on the TCG one because the quality is just non-pareil between the two. The OCG one is just way better. With that being said, it will run you a little bit more because the BLS on the TCG side is around 500, 600 bucks, and then the OCG one is around $1,000. But I definitely think the difference is worth it. Another really cool item that Konami released, well, they didn't really release it. It's more like they stumbled on it by accident, and that is the 2024 Megatin misprints that include alternate arts of iconic cards of the past. So in this tin, they were supposed to release them as prismatic secret rares, and we all know that the TCG prismatic secret rares are garbage. They ended up making a mistake somehow and releasing them in that nice traditional secret rare foiling as misprints. And these cards completely took off. They're doing extremely well in the aftermarket. The Dark Magician Girl, the Raigeki, and the Harpy's Feather Duster, I highly recommend you guys pick those up. They're not that expensive. I think Raigeki and Harpy are like 30 bucks, and then Dark Magician Girl is $100. I think for how much identity they have, they're absolute bangers. Some less tasteful releases that are considered collectible but I don't really like is the reprint of Retro Pack 1. They had no business reprinting that, but there is a collectability aspect of it in the booster boxes. For some reason, only a select amount of stores were able to get cases of this product in booster box form. Like they were able to get like the 3-4 pack boxes, but those are not really collectible. The booster box is an incredible display to have on your shelf. It has like the 3 LOB arts of the big 3. It has Yugi in his LOB art, and it's combined with like a nice yellow packaging. It looks amazing. Obviously, do not open that product because the cards inside are just their bulk. The display itself, in my opinion, will be collectible in the future because there was just not a lot of them to go around. Another product that I really like but the player base didn't really like is the Dragon Master Magia. They released this card in Battles of Legend Monstrous Revenge, and they made it exclusively a QCR. This card haunts the nightmares of a lot of collectors because having it in one rarity makes it very, very expensive, but this was bought out multiple times. It went up from 300 bucks to like 1,000, 1,200 bucks. I think now it's back down, but I definitely don't think that you should be buying this for more than 300 bucks. This is definitely a reprint candidate because it's playable. It's not very good, but it is playable. I personally wouldn't buy for over 300-400 bucks. A lot of the Blue Eye simps, a lot of the Magician simps will buy it. So it does like have a little bit of collectability, but to me, like I just don't like TCG QCRs. They look terrible in my opinion. I think that rounds up the TCG exclusive releases. There is the World's envelope, like that's the black envelope that they have been releasing since 2017. I think that's an amazing collectible, by the way. Unfortunately, there always hits and misses in between. So like 2017 was an awesome year. 2018 was really nice. 2019 dud. They skipped 2020, 2021, 2022 because of COVID. They came back to 2023, which was awesome. The Dark Magician Girl alternate art. In 2024, they released QCRs of Doom Caliber Knight as well as Swords of Revealing Light. And I think both of them are great picks, but I'm not sure if those are fitting for like Worlds cards. I like that they got QCRs, but I'm just not sure if they're like worthy of Worlds, especially when you compare it to previous years where we got like a Ghost or Dark Magician Girl, 20th anniversary Blue Eyes and Dark Magician. Like I think that there was better picks, but they were in English, unlike all the other ones that were released in the past. Now the last English but non-TCG release is the absolutely awesome reprints of the 2023 World Championship cards. So since 2019, they've been re-releasing every single Worlds card as an ultra rare replica, and I love them more than the actual original cards themselves. Like I can't stand that rarity that they've been using. I ranted about it in the Worlds Championship 2024 video that I put out, and I mean my statements still hold true. I think the ultra rares are way better looking, and I think they're extremely collectible. I highly recommend them, and they're very, very cheap. I think you can get the T-Rex for like $100 and the Magician for like $150-$200. Like they're absolute steals for how cool they are, and they were not even like handed out like willy-nilly. They were given to the winners of certain regional events in Japan. So like I think it's a badass release, really cool looking monsters, amazing artwork, and we're not gonna really get them any other way unless you want to shell out 100k. So I highly recommend those if you're interested in picking them up. Another card that I personally picked up and I'm a huge fan of is the quarter century secret rare championship prize card Injection Fairy Lily. So this card was released in the Challenger Cup on the Asian English side. There's 400 to 500 copies of it. It goes for around $300-$400, but it's printed in Japan, right? In Thailand, like on the Asiatic side. So like the card quality is incredible. Anybody who's held it in their hand knows the foiling just looks splendid, right? I've shown it multiple times in my videos. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about, but it is absolutely gorgeous and it's 100 times better than any TCG QCR. If you're a Lily fan or if you're a high rarity fan, you want to collect prize cards that are on the lower end, you know, there's still only 500 copies, right? Like it's not a lot and it still goes for like $400 or $500. I definitely recommend that as a pickup. And it's in the English language. You're just getting like the Japanese card quality. Another card that is super collectible and is probably like the rarest card in this whole video. It is the YuGiOh Dark Magician Girl. So this was released in Singapore's YuGiOh Open Tournament. And this pretty much allowed all the Asiatic countries to come together and compete. And there was 16 winners that were awarded this card. There's 16 copies in the world for this Dark Magician Girl. It's the Duelist Pack Yugi artwork, one that looks like the Dark Magician from SDY, but basically that comes uncensored in the English language and it's exclusive to just this release. So there's literally 16 copies. Now the card is very expensive because of this, but I still think it's a bargain for how low the count is. For 16 copies in the world, it only goes for like $2,000. I think that's a really good deal in my opinion. Some other limited cards is the YCS Japan Gandora. So since 2022, Japan has been releasing prize cards for their own YCSs, sort of like how we have like the Another Versus. They have metal cards. So the card is made out of stainless steel. The first release was a Red Eyes Black Dragon in the traditional artwork. And then the year after that was Guy the Fierce Knight. And then this year in 2024, they released Gandora. They come in a black case similar to the Prismatic God box. Some people have tried to grade them like with ARS and such. There's around 64 copies of every single one of these cards. So it's incredibly rare. They go for like thousands of dollars. And in my opinion, they make for really cool prize cards. The only thing I worry about with those is like the counterfeiting, right? Like they're easier to replicate than just regular cards. On the Chinese side, they have something similar. It's called YCSC and they released Stardust Dragon for 2024. And again, it's also limited to 64 copies. Incredibly rare. It's much cheaper than Gandora or Red Eyes or any of that because the text is Chinese and not a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh collectors like that. So that one goes for around like the $1,000 mark, $800, something like that. But the Japanese ones, I mean, they go for a lot of money. The TCG side though did get like a traditional stainless steel card, and that's the Dark Magician Girl. That one retailed for $150. A lot of people thought it was a bargain, but it turned out that they made a ton of them and it's still sitting here a year later, still available for sale. It has not sold out yet. Do I see this card going up in price? Maybe. The Japanese one did. I wouldn't really like bank on it and I wouldn't hold them for that long, to be honest with you. However, if you do like a cheap Yu-Gi-Oh collectible for $150, I highly recommend it. To get an acrylic piece that is that polished, it's $50. Who cares? Might as well pay the $100 and get the stainless steel Dark Magician Girl. That's limited to 5,000 copies. Another really awesome collectible product released on the Japanese side that is really budget, but at the same time there is exclusivity in it, is the Quarter Century Limited Pack. This pack has more Series 1 reprints that I featured in my other video. You guys loved that one. Well, this set expands on that. They re-released Aqua Madoor. They released an ultra rare Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon, which is absolutely gorgeous. I highly recommend it. I think it's like $2. You can get it like $2 to $5. Incredibly cheap. Not only only that, in that same set, they made a huge chase card, and that is Kanan. They cannot release this card cheap, bro. Like, Konami has a problem with this card. But anyway, they released a Series 1 reprint of that. That one goes for like $1,000, and then the QCR version goes for like $2,000. Both of them are incredibly rare. I think they are like 1 in like 10, 15 cases. Dumb numbers, bro. Like, they like, Konami definitely knows how to make chase cards in Japan. They don't know how to do it here. But yeah, like, if you're a budget collector, I highly recommend you pick up like the Aqua Madoor. They made like the vanilla version of Doriato. Like, I don't know if you guys know Elemental, it's just Doriato from TLM, the Ultimate Rare. It's actually a retrain of Doriato from the volume packs, and that card was re-released as an ultra rare holographic. Originally it was a common, and it looks magnificent. And again, it's like $2 to $3. If you want a really nice waifu card that is like classy, tasteful, that's a card that I would definitely recommend picking up. Some more QCRs that in my opinion might pique your interest is the Japanese side. There was certain prize cards that were awarded throughout 2024. There is Gemini Elf, Injection Fairy Lily, and Breaker the Magical Warrior that were handed out as QCR prize cards. The events were called Area Championships. They were incredibly limited, but then they re-released them in the Duelist King Cup. They're still like hovering around like the $300-$400 mark. It's not like cheap by any means, and I doubt there's more than like 400 or 500 copies of them. They are really cool collectibles, and in my opinion, if you're an OCG collector, I highly recommend you pick them up. I personally picked up all 3 myself, and I will be picking up the rest as they continue to release more and more. Another really cool release that we will never get in the TCG because we just don't get nice things like that is the 10th YCS Japan promo that released. Basically, in that event, there was a lot of attendees. In fact, it was the Guinness World Record for most attendees for a TCG event. And to commemorate that, they released a special promo card that has the Guinness World Record in the text box. It was also to celebrate the 10th YCSJ. It's incredibly cheap. It's like $50, but I highly recommend it if you like collecting Yu-Gi-Oh history because it is a special moment for sure. And it's pretty cool that in 2024 we still have record amount of attendees. Another product that I am 100% sure we will never get in the TCG is another complete file. So if you don't know, Konami released, I think like 3, 4, 5 years ago, complete file number collection. So it's like basically a box that houses every single number card, like every number XYZ card, that's what I'm talking about. And for 2024 they released another one called Color of White, and I believe it's a catalog of all the different Albaz cards that they've released, and there's alternate arts in there, there's QCRs in there. Bro, this thing is a bang for your buck if you collect OCG and if you like the meta. Like, it is a great collectible product. I mean, the number file did extremely well in the past. I think the number file you can probably find for like $200-$300 now. It retailed for way cheaper, like $30-$40, and I think this one will age even better simply because it has QCRs in it. It has way more cards as well as alternate arts and all of that. All right, rounding down to the last few things that I picked out, we are gonna hit probably one of the best products they've released in the past like 4 or 5 years, and I made a dedicated video on this. It's called the Unity and Pride set. You can check that product out yourself. Like, through the video I covered it completely, but there's a bunch of alt arts in there, and not only that, there is a lottery token in there limited to 1,000 copies, allows you to redeem a special edition plaque that has Dark Magician Girl and Dark Magician, Blue Eyes and Red Eyes in exclusive artwork that are not released anywhere else. It is an absolutely badass release. I cannot recommend it enough. I can't recommend those plaques enough. They're incredibly well made. The card quality is amazing and the artwork is completely exclusive. You cannot ask for anything better than this. And on top of that, they're limited to 1,000 pieces. Literally the complete package, man. Absolute home run release. The last few miscellaneous things that I want to touch on, there's 2 giant cards that I was a huge fan of. The first one is actually a set of 3. In YCS Vegas 2024, they had Mobius, Caius, and Ryza as giant cards in holofoil. God, they look so good, bro. Like, I really wanted them, but the winner wanted like $10,000 or something. Like, forget it. Like, that's not gonna happen. I quickly passed on those, but I would have loved to have those in my collection. And then the other notable giant card was the Megaton 2024 Dark Magician Girl alt art. They had that as a giant card, and that thing looked gorgeous as well. I put out an offer of like 4 or 5k, but apparently it sold like on site, so it is what it is. I would have loved to own that in my collection. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And then the other stuff that I want to mention is things like the books. So Valuable Books, they released Valuable EX number 4. These are the books that I have right here. Probably some of the best budget products that you'll ever see in terms of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like they have every single card, every single product released in that year. Completely badass. What more could you ask for, really? And that one had Phantom of Yubel. So because of this, the book was extremely sought after. A lot of them got ripped open. There's not a lot of them sealed. It shot up to around $50, but it has settled back down now. But I definitely recommend you guys check that one out, because if you're collecting these books like me and you like them with the card attached, I think it makes for a very good collectible. The other really cool books that they released was the Perfect Rule Book 2024. They release that every single year. It basically has the new updated rules in Japanese. I'm not really collecting those myself because I don't play the game, nor will I ever, but I definitely think that they're cool pieces to have if you're interested in collecting the Yu-Gi-Oh books. That one also comes with a card attached. And then the other two types of books that I want to mention is number one, V-Jumps. These are basically monthly magazines that they release, and they all have Yu-Gi-Oh cards inside. So there's 12 of those for the months of the year, as well as special bonuses for every season. Each have a bonus card inside as well. So that's really cool in my opinion. It's like kind of like Shonen Jump, how we have on the TCG, but obviously the TCG can't have any nice things, so like dismantled that. On the Japanese side, they still have it, and it's been going strong for the past like what, 25 years now. And then last but not least for the books is the manga that they've started releasing. So they released the Sky Striker arc. Volume 1 came out in 2022, Volume 2 came out in 23, and then in 2024 they released Volume 3, Volume 4, as well as the first volume in the Magistus series. The last release that I really liked from this year is the dual set of Shining Sarcophagus. Basically, it's a playmat, some sleeves, as well as a promo card that were handed out to the attendees of YCS Japan. And this playmat specifically had the retrains for all of Yugi's classic monsters, like Little Yugi. It celebrates Legacy of Destruction, but it also has a lot of like the iconic monsters that we saw on the TV show, right? I really like that set. I think it's highly collectible and it's incredibly cheap. It's like $40. So I highly recommend it if you guys are interested. But that pretty much rounds up everything that came out in 2024 that I think is decently collectible. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And by the way, if you're looking for any of the products that I mentioned, I'm going to leave links for every single thing that I talked about in the pinned comment, so you guys can check it out there. But yeah, let me know what your favorite pick is. For me, it's definitely the YOT Dark Magician Girl, limited to 16 copies, as well as the Unity and Pride plaques, limited to 1,000. I think those are probably like the best releases that they've had in the past like 3-4 years. But runner-up would definitely be the Kaiba case, as well as the playmat that I just mentioned with the Legacy of Destruction monsters. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out the Discord link in the description below. You can join the Strictly Sealed community completely free and talk to some of the highest end collectors and ask them your questions. That's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed and I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.